Hey everybody, it's James here from the Sawyer Family Reviews channel. I'm back with a review of the DC Collectibles Superman animated Superman and Lois Lane 2-pack. Let's take a look at it. Okay, before we start talking about the packaging on this guy, I just want to do a quick update for the channel here. I haven't had a lot of time to do reviews, as anybody that's still with this channel has probably realized. I know there's probably not a lot of people that are still checking out this channel, but so it's life, you know. There's a lot of work. I've got 3 kids, so I just don't have the time really to invest into a lot of toy reviews at the moment. The other thing with it is that I felt kind of a burden in having to do the toy reviews. Especially if it was something new. It was like, I got to get this up here. I've got to get this going. I've got to take these pictures. I got to get them up. And I've seen other reviewers that have done the same thing where they felt like it was too much and they've had to walk away. I didn't make a video saying I was walking away. I just stopped doing toy reviews. I still did my comic book weekly things because those are super easy. But I do still like talking about toys and showing toys and giving my opinions on toys. So I started thinking, if I don't do something new, if I stay away from new toys entirely, if I focus on a line that's completely done, there's nothing new coming out for it, I won't feel the stress and that I have to get it done. It'll be very much when I feel like doing this one, I'll do it. And to have a goal of, I want to do everything that was in this line, you know, that'll still motivate me to do more. But I won't feel the stress of having to do it. So the line I looked at was this DC Collectibles animated stuff. They're numbered, they're done, they're cool, they're fun, and it's kind of a hot line right now. So it's one that would be topical that other people can get in and talk about maybe. So I thought, okay, I've done a couple of those already. I did like the first 3, but not a whole lot of them. I walked away from the line for a long time. I'm kind of back towards it now, and I can rediscover it with you guys as we go. I plan on doing each figure as they're numbered. So like this Mr. Freeze is number 3. I'm going to go back and redo the first 3 that we'd already done, because those were those Toy Talk reviews where we got on the couch and talked about stuff, just to have all the review styles the same. Those will still be up, those original 3, but to keep all the review styles the same, I'm going to relook at them. The nice thing about this is both Batman and Catwoman, the ones I reviewed to begin with, had those peg holes on the thighs. They did redo those, so it'll be kind of like something new. There's only one figure that really is a complete redo of an old review without any changes. But anyway, so that's my plan, is to go through and do the DC Collectibles Batman animated line, and then the other stuff, like Superman animated, this release, and then the Justice League figures that they did. Because it's a really cool line. It's one I've looked back at a lot of times and gone like, this was a really special line. It may have had some issues. They may have done some missteps. They may have done some things that anger some customers here and there, but still it is a pretty amazing line in what they accomplished. So you're probably wondering, why am I doing this Superman animated to start with then? And that's because I wanted to get myself back in the groove of doing reviews, of recording, setting stuff up and all that stuff. And I didn't want to do it with one of the Batmans to kind of start off a whole sequence with something that, you know, I'm still rusty on. So I figured I'd grab the Superman animated pack because it's the only Superman animated item they released, unless you include the Girls Night Out pack, which has a couple of Superman characters in it. This is the only one that was blatantly labeled as Superman animated series. It even has number 1 down here, but this is all we got. So I figured this would be a good one to start with. I don't have to change my background paper because I plan on doing one certain color for all the Batman stuff, and just hop in and do this one. That's enough of all that stuff. Let's talk about this packaging. So this is kind of the same vein as the Batman animated stuff, where you've got the name along the side here of the character that's inside. Sorry, my light's giving it a glare. And then the number down below, and then we've got credits there. In this case, it's sculpted by Irene Matar. And then we've got the Superman animated logo there. We've got it along the top of the box. We've got a nice shot of Superman on the side, and then another shot of Superman on the back. And then, of course, all that rigmarole there. It's really easy open packaging. You just cut the tape and you can slide it out of there. So let's do that, and let's check them out. Okay, so here they are out of the box. Let's take a look at what they come with first, then we'll talk about the figures themselves. Superman comes with 3 extra sets of hands. They both just come with extra hands. There's no actual accessories with these guys. First up is these gripping hands. He comes with the fist hands on him. And then we've got a sort of gripping, sort of relaxed hand. And then we've got a more relaxed, but still somewhat gripping hand. It's weird. I would have gone with maybe like flat out hands for flying. I do like the sculpts on these, though. They've got sort of that stubbiness to the fingers that makes it look like that squared off look that the animation would have. Lois also has 3 sets of hands. The figure comes with an open set of hands on her, and then she has, these are tiny. I don't know if they're going to show up. Yeah, they're showing up. We've got these fist hands, and then we've got gripping hands, and then we've got another set of sort of open hands. These are a lot like the ones she has on her, but they have maybe a slight more grip to them. It's kind of weird. Like, there's 2 sets of hands for each one that are kind of alike that really didn't need to be included. I don't understand why there's such a slight variation between 2 sets of hands. But okay, I'm not going to complain about something extra. The only thing it is that it should have come with something else in the pack. I would have ditched a couple of those hands and thrown in a chunk of kryptonite. That'd have been a bare minimum accessory to throw with this set. In fact, I'm going back and looking at the packaging to make sure I didn't miss anything, and I didn't. There's nothing else with them. Oh, I take that back. They do come with the stands, the standard DC Collectibles animated style stands. I like the concept with the turnarounds, the character turnarounds on the bottom, but the execution's not that great. So there, you have a pole here that has a little indent on it, and there's an indent on the base. So you make sure you match that up when you plug it in there. These are a bit better than the earlier ones that I've looked at before, in that they actually have like a springy grip. But they're still not the greatest stands. As you can see, I've got mine on doll stands. They take up a lot of space, and there's a lot going on. I'm way more into a minimalist stand, where there's not a lot of doodads and craziness going on. Because I think if I had all these on display, they would eat up a ton of space, and they would, I don't know, they draw the eye. There's so much going on there. Especially on a smaller character like Lois. Let's get her off of this. I know I'm going to be putting her on the Superman stand. Instead of the Lois stand, but just to kind of show you, yeah, it's almost like there's like a medical device attached to her or something like that. There's just too much going on with that stand for my liking. I won't repeat that again and again and again with every review. I'll mention it here and there, but not a huge fan of the stands. I do like the bases with the character turnarounds, but that's about it. Okay, since I got Lois off the stand already, now this one had some issues when I got her out of the box. These knee joints were stuck. I just heated them up with a hairdryer to get them moving, but they were really stuck. I thought I was going to break it at first, but once I had it heated up, they moved just fine. So if you end up buying one of these packs brand new, I would highly suggest you hit this with a hairdryer first before you attempt to move it, because you'll break them if you're not careful. She doesn't have a lot of articulation going on. She does have that knee joint. It doesn't feel like it rotates. It just goes up and down. She has the swing out hips, but they're hindered by the skirt piece. And she's also got front to back, but again, they're hindered by the skirt piece. The skirt piece is rubbery. So is the vest piece. They're both kind of a rubbery material. So she does have a waist swivel, and the waist is higher up. It's just covered by that rubbery piece. And then she's got shoulders that rotate. They hinge out till about there. And then she's got the same deal on the elbows where they hinge. They're actually ratcheting, which is nice, so they're not going to be flopping all over the place. And then those also rotate. They're a little bit gummy. They want to feel it. They feel like they're catching a little bit, especially this one. So I may end up heating that up some more to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't want to break these figures because they are kind of rare now. But you can kind of feel it not want to quite move. It wants to hang on. So I'm going to heat that up again. So then we've got rotation at the wrist. The wrists do hinge back and forth, and they rotate. They do pop off. Oh, man, they're really on there. Oh, did you hear that? That was crazy. And then we'll pop that one on there. So where they pop on, they do rotate. And then she's got a little tiny bit of head movement. There's not much going on here because the hair is pretty restrictive. And she does not really want to stand that well because she's got, well, there, she's standing right now. She's got these little tiny high heels. And that's one of the things about this line is the females do have tiny feet. And so you're going to have to put on something if you want them to stand on your shelf. I always used all stands. Let's look at Superman next to cover his articulation. Then we'll talk about the figures themselves and their designs. Let's get him off of here. Superman fared better out of the box. There were no issues. He's got rotation at the hip. They hinge out. He's got knees. Again, all they do is hinge. There's no rotation at the knee. It just hinges up and down. And then we've got hinging ankle. We've got rotating waist. We've got rotating shoulder that hinges out to there. We've got elbows that hinge and then rotate. Same deal with Lois. His hands switch out, so they rotate where they plug in. And you've got hinge back and forth on that. And then he's got sort of a ball jointed head, but there's not a lot of movement to it. So they're pretty well articulated figures if there's no issues, if there's nothing stuck or feeling like it's going to break. Lois, I feel like that elbow's got some issues, and I had to heat her up to get her started off with any kind of articulation whatsoever. Paintwork is really sharp. I do have a couple spots here on the Superman where the blue is like, it's almost like it's scuffed. But overall, the paint is clean. There's not a lot of paint to these, which there shouldn't be because they're animated figures, so they shouldn't be going crazy with a lot of different shading and details and all that stuff. They should look like their animated counterparts. I do like the cell shading they did on later Batman animated figures, but I'm still not complaining about the older ones that didn't have the cell shading. I still think they look good. The sculpt on them is very nice. This looks dead on Lois on the way she was in the show. Superman, there's certain angles where it's like, oh, that head sculpt's a little strange, but then you get it like to the side and it's like, oh, wow, yeah, that's dead on the way he looked in Superman animated. The only bummer is that these are the only two figures that we got for Superman animated. I take that back. We had the Girls Night Out set that gave us Live Wire and Supergirl, but I wanted so many more characters out of this line, and now that DC Collectibles is over with, there's no chance we're going to get more characters. I would have loved to have Toyman and Luthor and Steel, all the characters from Superman Animated, which is a very much underrated piece of the overall animated universe. I would have loved to have more characters from this line. Now, cost-wise, this originally retailed at $50, and at that price, it was really good. Nowadays, it goes for like $200, and at that point, I don't know if I could say, hey, go after this one. Because there is a good alternative with Superman in the Justice League animated line. The real crux here is that you don't have a Lois, and you don't have the Superman animated version of Superman. That being said, since there's only these two figures and the Live Wire and Supergirl, it's not like you have to get them all. It's not like, oh, well, it's crucial I get these two because there's so much more Superman animated stuff. There's not. The flip side of that is that if you want to pony up that money, you can be done with the Superman animated line in like 2 releases. You get this, you get Girls Night Out, you're done. So I think it's a cool set, but definitely not a must-have amongst the DC Collectibles animated stuff, unless you're a huge Superman fan. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this one, and then the next one will be the #1 figure from the Batman animated line from DC Collectibles, and then we're going to run through them all. So hopefully you guys will stick with me here. Subscribe, notify, all that stuff if you want to be along with this journey as we go through every figure starting in the now Batman animated line. We know I covered Superman animated, then we'll do Batman animated, and then we're going to do Justice League after that. Okay? Thanks for joining me, guys. See ya.